welcome to the next edition of the Hewlett Packard Enterprise Voice of the Customer discussion series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing discussion on IT innovation and how it's making an impact on people's lives. Our next big data use case discussion explores how an ecosystem of technology providers have teamed to provide new dynamic and rapid analysis capabilities to the retail industry. We'll explore how the Extreme Apps for Retail initiative puts new knowledge in the hands of on-site sellers to the customized benefit of shoppers at the very point of sale and in real time. By leveraging the power of SAP Big Data Software Infrastructure, HPE hardware, and Capgemini targeted analysis and intelligence, these Extreme Apps are designed to make the physical retail experience king by leveraging the best of online assets brought to enhance the user experience at the mobile tier. To learn more about how individual buyer information and group buying behavior inferences combined to customize the buying experience anywhere and any time, please join me in welcoming our guest. We're here with Frank Wames. He's the Chief Technology Officer for Continental Europe for Capgemini. Welcome, Frank.
Oh, thank you, Dana. It's great to be on the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. So, Frank, we've had so much change over the past 5 years in retail. It's really a vertical industry that's, under lots of pressure, lots of need for innovation. But what, in your mind, are the top trends driving this desire to use big data better and to, enhance users' ability at the site to get customized buyer experiences, customized deals based on their individual needs and wants?
Yeah, I think retail indeed is one of the industries which is most impacted by the outflow of the financial crisis in 2007, 2008, where a lot of companies struggle. Okay, how are we going to revive our business? And it has been an industry where you could see the winners and the losers very apparently. But I think there are a few things which everybody in the retail industry are now thinking about and need to give an answer to. First of all, it's the big opportunity that retailers have, leveraging, I think, the whole big data movement. There is so much data that retailers have about their customers and the consumers. It's the structured and the unstructured data that they really can bring to the benefit. The only question is, how will they do that, and how are they going to make sure that all the data that they possess really come to action in order to create better experiences in the store or on the website? I think the second big trend is, how do you gain the loyalty of your buyers? So we see that it's very easy for consumers to switch between different brands, between different retailers, between different stores, and loyalty is something that came in the past, but it's something which will not come automatically in nowadays or in the future. But if you give a client a real custom experience and they know that every time they come to you, they will get the same experience and they get the benefits because of their loyalty, they will adapt their needs in real time and will keep their loyalty towards your brand. So the second is, how do you increase that loyalty? And third, it's really the combination of the online and physical retail experience. So what we did, the omni-channel experience that people have. How do you make sure that during the buying journey of a customer, they continuously have the same experience? And we always joke. So if you go to a retail outlet in your specific country, how many retailers when you have bought something online and you want to cancel it and you want to buy something in the store, can you in that store cancel that order and make sure that you can take a physical good away out of the store? And in 95% of the cases, that will not be the case. So how can you? It's very easy to surprise your customer if you can do it. So how can you wow your buyer and give them the real experience? So I think those are the three big things. So leveraging on the data to increase the loyalty, and that in a both online and offline world.
Well, it's very interesting that we're using big data and intelligence to, in effect, bind what happens online with what happens in real time and real space. And I suppose until fairly recently, people had expected their online shopping experience to be the one where analysis was being derived from their actions, from their history, and their click stream and so forth. So it's fascinating that we're able to bring analysis to the physical, and it seems that shopping is one of those things where so much more can be done when you're actually in the in touch with the goods, to be able to feel them, see them, try them, and so forth. So why we seem to have had a problem getting to this point where we can combine the best of online analysis capabilities and data gathering with the physical world? What has been some of the problems that needed to be solved in order to get to this point?
Well, I think a few of the problems was once you went online, people could capture where you came in from through your IP address. So if you consistently came through that IP address, you didn't even have to have a loyalty card, but we knew that you were a returning client. We probably knew that you bought something. So that was the reason why, from an online perspective, we have been able already to give you much more personalized offers or a better experience towards your needs. Using the intelligence indeed and the big data. The issue was in the physical store. Once you entered, we did not know who you were, and probably at the counter, the moment that you already made your purchase, perhaps you drew your loyalty card, and that was the moment that we could do something for you. But that was already at the end of the purchase decision. I think a lot of the technology has changed. So one of the things is that you can have your sales agents in the stores or your sales reps in the stores. And have them employed by tablets. So already once people are doing their shopping in the physical store, I can create a contact moment and I can probably ask them already for their loyalty card or if they have bought something, yes or no. But even more important, one of the other things that you can do now is with beacon technology. Once you get in with your phone and you already had a connection to the company, because you are in some kind of loyalty program, you already downloaded an app from that specific store. The moment that you enter, we know that you entered, and probably we can upload a picture on the mobile of the sales rep, so that he can proactively approach you and say, "It's so good, Mr. or Mrs. X, that you came back again. How was the coat that you bought last time?" So I think the moment that we now can have these interactions with our customers within the retail store gives us the insights and the possibility to leverage on the insights and the big data capabilities. And that was something that in the past we didn't have. So I think that really is the thing that helped. And of course, then the fun part is now we have the capabilities and the technologies to crunch all that data real time. So it's good that I can recognize my customer, but more importantly, I now have the technology to instantly, in real time, crunch all the data so I can give him this personal experience.
Well, I can see why you're calling it extreme apps. That really is really powerful and interesting that you can do this now, and to have someone greet me and recognize my last purchase and follow up on that. Clearly with my opt-in, I'm giving them information, but I'm getting quite a bit back in return. It really is groundbreaking. Is this something that we're seeing only in retail, or are there other vertical industries, not to go too far afield from our discussion, but is this something that's applicable beyond retail, and is that something you've considered?
Well, the fun part is I think there's a lot of retail in a lot of different industries. So we initially focused really on the hardcore retail, and the reason why we did it is because we really looked what are the industries where so much transactional data is coming in, so that we really can crunch the data and use the power of in-memory analytics in this specific case. So that was the starting point. And then you can look at utilities. Because, with the utilities, there are so much streams of information and so many transactions that you can really crunch the data and give a personal experience. So, and particularly now with the deregulation of the utilities industries, this is something that we are also actively looking into. How can we make sure that the retention of your consumer will be increased? The banking industry, the insurance industry, so they all have this kind of retail perspective. But on the other part, we also are in talks with some oil companies that also, of course, have their retail outlets, sometimes directly or sometimes indirectly. And one of the other areas, for instance, we had some discussions with a very large beverage producer, where we said, could you perhaps offer analytics as a service towards retailers, so that the retailer themselves don't have to buy the analytical capabilities, but that perhaps you offer this as a service, so that you have more influence and insights on what's happening on your product. And perhaps you can put that into the hands of an independent party, so that the retailer doesn't feel this insight. So we see the retailer as the starting point because of this experience. It's the customer experience that you directly can enhance. But the fun part is there is a lot of retail kind of experience in the banking, insurance industry. So the opportunities are more diverse. And it all leads to how can I optimize the personal experience the individual buyer has with our company.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We're really combining the physical world, the mobile tier data, and existing industries in really new ways. Well, let's explore how that extreme experience benefit on the front end is made possible by some extreme technology on the back end, so to speak. So we have several different players involved here: SAP, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and Capgemini. Explain to me how these partners in this ecosystem have come together and what each contributes to the ability to deliver these capabilities.
Yes, indeed, because it is extreme, but it also required some extreme engineering of new technologies in order to create this. So what we have done is it's a combination of some very strong partners of ours, where we try to leverage the new technology. So first of all, it started with SAP HANA. So that was also the question that SAP posed to us. We have HANA as the in-memory engine, but we have it just as an engine. Can you, with your creativity and your industry knowledge, create some solutions on top of it? And that's where basically this whole extreme apps started from. So SAP delivers the HANA technology, and what we also offer, but this is optional, is that we also say if you don't have a proper backend to provide you all this data and to capture all the data and all the transactional data, Capgemini has built also a retail template on top of the SAP business suite. So we have a pre-configured retail solution for those companies that don't have a proper or state-of-the-art ERP system yet. So SAP comes in with, first of all, their traditional business suite, but the extreme apps are explicitly built into the SAP HANA platform. HP, it delivers the hardware and the services, the hybrid cloud expertise, and together also with SAP and HP, we really looked at the architecture, because also not only always want to have all your data in the in-memory mode. So we also took in technologies like Hadoop to make a distinction between the hot data and the cold data that we work on in our analytics space. And what Capgemini added on top of it basically was the algorithm. So we leveraged on the algorithms that we had to put into this extreme environment. It runs now on the Capgemini data centers on the HP software. But the fun part is we can leverage this in multiple ways. So you can host it in the Capgemini data center. You can have it installed on-premise. We can have it in the cloud, and we can also deliver it as the normal traditional license and transaction price. But we also engineered it together with SAP and HP that you can also have it in a price per month per scenario. So we have, and I think that's also that was for us also a learning curve and an extreme part that we also created different business models in the delivery of these extreme apps.
Right. So in addition to this flexible deployment capability, where you can bring these extreme apps anywhere, anytime, any place, as I understand, you also have a set of APIs that are available so that this can be customized and adapted to mobile, web, point of sale, and so forth. So tell me a little bit about the role of the API and the ability for custom apps and delivery.
Yeah. So if you look at the extreme apps that we have right now, so we have got two big scenarios, as we call it. So we already have built other analytics around it, but there are two big scenarios. So one is the market basket analysis, and the other is the next best action. So the market basket analysis basically is the tool for the merchandise agents. They want to know if I make a promotion, does it really add to the margin of the company? Or if I look at a certain promotion, why is it performing better in location A compared to location B? So what you want is you want to leverage a lot of the analytics and the visuals which are already on the web, but basically that's through your normal web browser. It's a professional user using it. So what we see is we deliver the standard analytics, we deliver the standard visuals. There is not a lot of tailoring around it. But the next best action is a complete different ballgame, Dana. Because what you want is you want to provide the capability to offer something whilst the user is making his purchasing decision. And that can be through all different kind of means. It can be when a client is indeed shopping on your web shop, and then you want to have this engine immediately promoting something which is relevant for the user. It could also be that he walks by your company, and this is an example, for instance, that we had with a lingerie store, where they said, we push when we have the telephone number of a client, and we know through our beacon technology he is walking somewhere around our store. We give him a promotion, so we give him a 10% discount if he comes into the store and buys within an hour. But we already said, it's good that you give a 10% promotion, but wouldn't it be much better if you give a very explicit promotion based on his buying pattern and based on the buying patterns of others who bought similar kind of products? Then the promotion really becomes valuable. So then you want to have the promotion on your mobile. For your sales reps, you want to have it in a specific function which gives them the opportunity to have a good conversation with the client while they are in the store. So what we have said is we have developed some standard screens already, whether it's for mobile, whether it's for a tablet, or whether it's for your web. But more importantly, we said, all these companies, they already have their mobile apps, or they already have a sales representative outlet. So we need to create an API so they can embrace it and incorporate it within their own existing environment, so that they really can start quick and don't have to do a complete rebuild of their environment. So this is the way how the API works. So through the API, basically we give the promotion data, and they can incorporate in their own traditional or in their existing applications.
Very cool. Frank, where are we on the sort of rollout or milestones for this Extreme Apps for Retail initiative? Tell us a little bit about it, when it started, where we are now, and when we should expect to see more of these apps in actual use.
Well, I think it started around 2 years ago when we had this discussion with SAP, where they first started, build applications on top of HANA, and how can you really add value from an industry perspective towards this technology platform. So that's where we started. We built it. We also crafted it already together with a clothing retailer. So it was not just created within the buildings of Capgemini and with the help of HP and SAP, but with no client. We really built it together with a client, so that we immediately knew, okay, what are the issues that you have, and not only leveraging our own industry expertise. So that was basically the first client, and then we went into to a do-it-yourself retail chain where we implemented it. And the fun part was that what we saw was when the users, and particularly the professional users of the application, saw what the potential is that you can do with real-time in-memory capabilities, then immediately already the additional questions emerged. So when we started with these two big applications, but then it immediately was, okay, but if you have my point of sale data, can I also create a report so that I can show to my CFO what the daily sales flush is, but then in a very advanced graphical way. And by the way, we leverage all these standard visualizations that you get with HTML5, so you can tap out of so many libraries. So quickly already we had 4 or 5 additional reports that were built because we already worked on the data of the POS. So this is something where we are right now. So we've got the 2 main scenarios, and if a client installs one of the main scenarios, we already provide them with the reports that we have and that we built from the other clients. What we are now doing is we are in discussion with we have some additional algorithms. And we have some test environments where we continuously are discussing with our clients, okay, which algorithm is most valuable to your business. And in the model that we have, we said, okay, and then if you are an SAP dominant client and you are leveraging already the power of the Extreme apps, we will make sure that we extend the scenarios that we have with that algorithm that you have. So I think we can anticipate that in the coming year we will build more based on the proof of concepts that we will do with our clients. Where first we will test the algorithm, and then we will build it into the HANA platform, thereby enhancing the portfolio of the different Extreme app scenarios.
Right, and now given that these services, these apps are available and are proven in the field. If an interested organization wanted to start leveraging these capabilities, how long typically does it take, and what is involved in getting this actually in implementation?
Well, and that's the cool thing. I think this is there are a lot of aspects which you also already recognize that were quite extreme in the Extreme apps for retail. But perhaps the most extreme is the implementation time. So what we have done is we leverage the environment that we have within the organization, the combined Capgemini HP environment. And basically what we said is if you deliver your data in the data structure that we ask, then we can store your data in the Extreme apps, and within a time frame of 2 weeks, you can already start experimenting whether the technology works for your company. So what we already said is, give us your data. We will load it within the Extreme apps environment. And for instance, for your market basket analysis, you can already do the first analysis where you can see where you can already improve your promotions, whether you are not making the wrong decisions and putting items in promotions which negatively affect each other. So within a very short time frame, we can already provide your environments where you can do your proof of value to really showcase that within a very short time frame you can have a return on investment. Same way, what we have, because we have this API, we can also immediately integrate it within your existing environment, whether it's your app or whether it's your web browser, your internet page. You can already start experimenting by giving a little bit more advanced, more analytical capabilities. So it's not only that you provide, I recommend this product because other people who bought product A also bought product B. Because you bought in the past this series of products, I compared it to people who also bought these series of products, but they then bought product B. So the advancement of the analytics is much bigger than the traditional, if you buy A, then buy B because others also bought B. So this is something that we can have installed very quickly. And once you want to go in production, well, it depends a little bit whether you want to go on-premise or whether you want to go hybrid. But again, in the meantime, you can leverage the environment that both HP and Capgemini set up in our own data centers.
So just to understand clearly, you can integrate to a retail organization's website capability, their online marketing or marketplace and selling and buying capability, and also reach out to their point of sale retail outlets in as little as 2 weeks.
Exactly, and that's I think the combination is now the cool thing that we see. So that's also, Dana, some things that we learned. So we started off with the traditional model. We built a scenario, and if we go to a client, they need to buy the HANA license, they need to buy the hardware, then they need to buy a scenario from us. And then we emerge like, okay, we can build it in a offering where you do it on a monthly basis. And now what we now try to see, what we are now seeing, is that together with other solutions, we can have it integrated in some engines. So for instance, Capgemini has another piece of IP, which is called RM3. And RM3 is some kind of a middleware solution where you can optimize your promotions. So you can mix and match the promotions to tailor it as much as possible to the individual need. But now we can put the extreme apps in it and make the promotion more advanced. As well as we are in talks now with some other clients who have their own engines where they give promotion capabilities through mobile apps, but they don't have a powerful analytics module behind it to make it personal. And now we also say, okay, well, you can have this extreme apps as the engine as part of it. So it also has been a journey from us learning that, it is not only the capability of doing the analytics, but it also changed the way that you can do your business models. And this applies both through the retailer as well through the conglomerate that we are working with.
And of course, we know from the benefits of data and analysis that the more data and the longer period of time, the better the analysis. And so you're able to give your individual retailers more insight into individual behavior. They're able to see their own processes, promotions, enticements work better. But stepping back, you're also at the Capgemini level getting a lot of insight into an even larger set of data across multiple retailers, multiple types of shopping environments, multiple types of buyers. So does that mean that you're going to get better algorithms and better insights from this larger historical set of data that can then be applied back into this set of extreme apps?
Well, what we have, that is a very good suggestion for an additional business model, Dana, to be quite honest. The thing that we now do is that we really separate the different environments. So at this moment in time, it's really, it's the environment that we set up and the algorithm work for the specific individual client. But what we now do, which comes a little bit to your point, is that we really learn from, okay, how do the different clients that use our extreme apps leverage the extreme apps to optimize their promotions and their interactions with the client. That's the first step. At this moment in time, we are not really to the point that we say, okay, we can leverage the learnings that we take from the multiple client sets. However, what you refer to is something that we have thought of already, but it comes back to the example that I gave on the beverage producer. So if you as a consumer goods company can provide an engine to a retailer or to a multiple set of retailers where you say, you buy our products or you sell our products, but more importantly, we help you in optimizing your promotions so that you, in the end, will sell more. And if you sell more, we will also sell more. That's where really the learning on the multiple clients, multiple different retail stores will kick in. So we have thought of that concept, but not so much over the users of our extreme apps solutions, but much more to the context of can consumer product companies offer this as some kind of analytical capability towards different retailers.
Well, perhaps, Frank, in a year or two, we'll have another conversation where we'll talk about how synergistic shopping works. When you buy one type of product, it might mean you'll be buying another soon, and some coordination and intelligence can be brought to that. In the meantime,
definitely.
In the meantime, do you have any examples of either named or unnamed organizations that have put the extreme apps for retail to use? What business benefits they get from it? Any measurements of success, such as we were able to increase share of wallet, we were able to increase larger sets of purchases by certain buyers, anything along the lines of proof points for how well this works?
Yeah. Well, I can mention some industries where we or specific kind of retailers that we are in. That's the things that we can disclose. So when we looked at the business case that we got for the do-it-yourself company, basically their main business case was really on the next best action. So what they saw was the potential to do an uplift of about 25% because they could target better the promotions that they gave. And it was also because we really started to introduce the next best action also on the apps. and on their website, which is a very growing business, of course, in that specific industry. So making sure that the upsell and the cross-sell emerged was really the business case on the do-it-yourself side. In the food retailer, it's much more about the merchandise planning. So what we saw was particularly the promotions, and that was a business case where I think it was something about 4% points of improvement that could be achieved easily. So there was really with not much action. Where the benefit really was that through the analysis we could see that there was which products had affinity with each other, but also what the potential financial benefit between those two products were if you would not put them into promotions again, or if you put them explicitly into promotions. So as an example, I think it's the most easiest example, but everybody understands it. If you sell crisps and you have it in your promotion, don't put your beer into the promotion, because there is such a high correlation between people who buy beer, they will automatically buy crisps as well. So don't do that. So through these kind of correlations and affinities, that was really where we could have 4% point improvement on the revenue, making sure that people would not do the promotions again. Again, a couple of percent points were able to reach because we could sell products which were very slow selling and where you could have issues on your expiry date, because we could identify with which kind of products they would sell. So if I have this low turnover goods but I put a promotion on a high turnover goods with a high probability that the low turnover good would sell as well, then I will get rid of the inventory. Again, also what we saw, and that was also, I think it was about 3% point potential, was really about don't put something on promotion where a product with a high affinity is out of stock. These are the real examples that we have shown into the different industries.
Great. Now, these are benefits that are clearly significant to the seller. We're talking about retail, where it's very competitive and there are large revenue numbers involved, so a couple of percent is a lot. But what about the buyer? Have you done any surveys or questionnaires, found out why the buyers are benefiting from this and what it makes in terms of loyalty develop with them?
Well, I have to be very honest on that, Dana. We haven't done the research. So the research was really on the business case and the elements that I gave to you. So we haven't done the research, so I can't give you the exact numbers on the loyalty. However, what we saw in the interaction that we had with our clients was that they said, it is the opportunity to give this personalized experience in a relatively inexpensive way. So what we use some clients as the real best practice on how can you integrate your online and offline shopping experience. For instance, Burberry for us is one of the stars in having a very integrated omni-channel experience. And what we see besides the business case effects that we just discussed, that they said, the fact that I can really have a personalized conversation when somebody enters my store already with data up front, that really gives high value. However, we didn't measure it. But to be truly honest, I have a very good case in the Netherlands. There's a very large retailer that went bankrupt on the 31st of December. So can you imagine? They have 10,000 employees, and on the verge of New Year, they get to hear that they are unemployed. One of those, and they were one of the oldest big retailers in the Netherlands, a big department store. I visited that department store a lot. And the issue always was that when I came to the floor, there were no people that came to help me. They didn't came to advise me. They didn't came to assist me. And then when I finally grabbed a product that perhaps I would buy, then I had to stand in line where there was a big line because there was only a few cash registers on this very big floor. And for me, the business case was, and it's a very bold statement, but I think their future would have been much more brighter. What would happen if somebody would have approached me They already knew that indeed I bought something, because everybody from that bought in the past over there, they have a loyalty card. They knew what I have bought, they knew what my interests were, and they would give me and say, okay, Mr. Wemmer, it's so good that you are here again. Can I show you around? Because I've noticed that you marked this as some of interest on our online store, and let me show you. And if that would happen, I could buy it from that person as well, because they have this integrated credit card mechanism attached to their tablet. That would really be a complete transformation of doing business in that department store. And I can tell you, then 10,000 employees would not have had that bad message at the end of the year.
Well, that's fascinating, Frank. You're basically saying that the personal touch in the retail environment is empowered now and can come back. I think we've all noticed in the past years, even decades, that the amount of personalization and personal touch, human interaction has gone down. It's very much self-service. If it remains self-service, what's the difference between online and bricks and mortar? Not very much. So you're really, with this capability, this extreme set of apps, bringing the relevant nature of person-to-person sales back into vogue and making it very economically powerful.
Exactly, and I think that's you hit the nail, as we say it in the Netherlands. I think one of my colleagues said it's all about relevant personal experience, and it should be a relevant personal experience. And the fun part is, technology is not threatening that. If you apply it in the right way, you strengthen it. And I think that's really where we can have a great omni-channel, relevant personal experience delivered towards the consumer.
Okay, Frank, we're just about out of time. I just wanted now, for a brief moment, look a little bit to the future. Now that we've taken this significant step into extreme apps for retail, what comes next? What might we consider sort of the next chapters in being able to leverage these capabilities around real-time, vast data being brought to bear, vast APIs for implementation and delivery of the visualization and other data, and then this newfound empowerment of that salesperson, that personal advisory service, if you will, at the retail outlet. What might we expect in the next months and years?
Well, let me start by far in the future and then bring it back a little bit. So if I go far to the future, I think, bringing in even more artificial intelligence will not only even enhances the creation of strong algorithms that increases this relevant personal experience, but I think also AI, in contrast, will not only give robotics a chance to interact with us. There are already some examples, for instance, robotics driving around in Schiphol airport to help people along the journey. But I think also, again, this sales agent will be supported by AI to give more relevant personal experience towards our clients. So I think artificial intelligence is definitely something which will kick in the coming years. I think the rollout of beacon technology, so that we really can recognize the individual consumer, is something which, of course, in the coming years will be broader exploited in the industry. And on the short notice, I think there is something very funny going on, Dana. I think what we have seen is that a lot of companies talk about big data, but still a lot of retailers are struggling a little bit. Okay, how do I really apply it? And what we have seen is, with the clients that implemented the extreme apps for retail, because people were exposed to the enormous power of what in-memory big data solutions can bring to you, all of a sudden the imagination is awakened. So what we have seen, and that's some of the examples that I gave earlier, is that people said, okay, but if you have this data anyway, can you then give us some very nice visual analytics to the CFO? Can you give us some? And so I think the most powerful part of the solution is that we give a tool set in the hands of people that in the past were always limited by the IT department because, it was difficult to build, it cost a lot of money, and it's very difficult to maintain. And now, with the new technologies, it is very easy to create stuff which are very visual, powerful, and therefore the imagination becomes the limit of what we can do. And I think that is perhaps the most surprising part, and that's the thing I can't answer because I don't know yet what kind of things people will come up with. But I think, we are entering an area where imagination becomes a driving force of the things that we can build.
And Frank, for those who are reading or listening to our conversation today, if they want more information about how to learn about this, to start the journey towards understanding how it might benefit their organization, where would you point them?
Well, first of all, they always can contact me at frank.walmes@capgemini.com or do it to my Twitter account. But if you go to the Capgemini site, there is a section called Ready To Series, and Ready To Series is the solutions where Capgemini owns their own IP. And under the Ready To Series, you will find more information about the Extreme apps, and you can learn more from the solutions that we have there.
Well, great. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been discussing how an ecosystem of technology providers have teamed to develop new dynamic and rapid analysis capabilities for the retail industry. And we've seen how the Extreme Apps for Retail initiative puts new knowledge in the hands of on-site sellers to the customized benefit of shoppers at the very point of sale and in real time. So please join me in thanking our guest. It's been a fascinating talk. We've been here with Frank Walmes. He's Chief Technology Officer for Continental Europe for Capgemini. Thanks so much, Frank.
Thank you, Dana.
And I'd also like to thank our audience for joining us for this Voice of the Customer Big Data Use Case discussion. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host for this ongoing series of Hewlett Packard Enterprise sponsored interviews. Thanks again for listening, and do come back next time.